me day 394 of reading, taking Harry Potter and Order the Phoenix. Let's get started. Currently on page 260. Let's go. Maybe he's been messing with stuff that's too big for him, if you get my drift. Malfoy walked away, smirking over his shoulder at Harry, who suddenly felt sick. Did Malfoy know something? His father was a Death Eater, after all. What if he had information about Hagrid's fate that had not yet reached the Order's ears? He hurried back around the table to Ron and Hermione, who were squatting on the grass some distance away, and attempting to persuade a Bow-Truckle to remain still enough to draw it. Harry pulled out a parchment and quill, crouched down beside the others, and related in a whisper what Malfoy had just said. Dumbledore would know if something had happened to Hagrid, said Hermione at once. It's just playing into Malfoy's hands to look worried. It tells him we don't know exactly what's going on. We just gotta ignore him, Harry. Here, hold the Bow-Truckle for a moment, just so I can draw his face. Yes, came Malfoy's clear drawl, all from the group nearest to them. Father was talking to the ministry just a couple days ago, you know. It sounded as though the ministry was really determined to crack down on substandard teaching in this place. So even if that overgrown moron does show up again, he'll probably been sent packing straight away. Ouch! Harry had gripped the Bow-Truckle so hard that it had almost snapped. He had just taken a great retaliatory swipe at his hands with his sharp fingers, leaving two long, deep cuts there. Harry dropped it. Crabbe and Goyle, who had already been guffawing at the idea of Hagrid being sacked, laughed still harder as the Bow-Truckle set off at full tilt toward the forest. A little moving stick man soon swallowed up at the tree roots. When the bell echoed distantly over the grounds, Harry rolled up his blood-stained Bow-Truckle picture and marched off to herbology with his hands wrapped in a handkerchief of Hermione's and Malfoy's derisive laughter still ringing in his ears. If he calls Hagrid a moron one more time, Harry said through gritted teeth. Harry, don't go picking a row with Malfoy. Don't forget, he's a prefect now. He can make life difficult for you. Wow, I wonder what it'd be to have a difficult life, said Harry sarcastically. Ron laughed, but Hermione frowned. Together they traipsed across the vegetable patch. The sky appeared unable to make up its mind whether it wanted to rain or not. I just wish Hagrid would hurry up and get back, that's all, said Harry in a low voice as they reached the greenhouses. And they don't say that grubbly plank woman's a better teacher, he added threateningly. I wasn't going to, said Hermione calmly. Because she'll never be as good as Hagrid, said Harry firmly, fully aware that he had just experienced an exemplary care of magical creatures lesson and was thoroughly annoyed about it. The door of the nearest greenhouse opened and some fourth years spilled out of it, including Ginny. Hi, she said brightly as she passed. A few seconds later, Luna Lovegood emerged, trailing behind the rest of the class, a smudge of earth on her nose and her hair tied in a knot on top of her head. When she saw Harry, her prominent eyes seemed to bulge excitedly as she made a beeline straight for him. Many of his classmates turned curiously to watch. Luna took a great breath and then said, without so much as a preliminary hello, I believe he who must not be named is back, and I believe you fought him and escaped from him. Right, said Harry awkwardly. Luna was wearing what looked like the pair of orange radishes for earrings. In fact, that Parvati and Lavender seemed to have noticed, as they were both giggling and pointing at her earlobes. You can laugh, Luna said, her voice rising, apparently under the impression that Parvati and Lavender were laughing at what she had said rather than what she was wearing. But people used to believe that there were no such things as blubbering humdinger or the crumple-horned snorkack. Well, they were right, weren't they? Said Hermione impatiently. There weren't any such things as the blubbering humdinger or the crumple-horned snorkack. Luna gave her a withering look and flounced away, radishes swinging madly. Parvati and Lavender were not the only ones hooting with laughter now. Do you mind not offending the only people who believe me? Harry asked Hermione as they made their way into class. Oh, for heaven's sake, Harry, you can do better than her, said Hermione. Ginny's told me all about her. Apparently, she'll only believe in things as long as there's no proof at all. Well, I wouldn't expect anything else for someone whose father runs the Quibbler. Harry thought of the sinister horses he had seen on the night he had arrived, and how Luna had said she could see them too. His spirit sank slightly. Had she been lying? But before he could devote much more thought to the matter, Ernie Macmillan had stepped up to him. I want you to know, Potter, he said in a loud, caring voice, that it's not only weirdos who support you. I personally believe you 100%. My family has always stood firm before Dumbledore, and so do I. Thanks very much, Ernie, said Harry, taken aback, but pleased. Ernie might be pompous on occasions like these, but Harry was in a mood to deeply appreciate a vote of confidence from somebody who was not wearing radishes in their ears. Ernie's words had certainly wiped a smile off Lavender Brown's face as he turned to talk to Ron and Hermione. Harry caught Seamus's expression, which looked both confused and defiant. To nobody's surprise, Professor Sprout started their lesson by lecturing them about the importance of OWLs. Harry wished all the twisted feelings in his stomach every time he remembered how much homework he had to do. A feeling that worsened dramatically when Professor Sprout gave them yet another essay at the end of the class. Tired and smelling strongly of dragon dung, Professor Sprout's preferred brand of fertilizer, the Gryffindor troops trooped back up to the castle an hour and a half later, none of them talking very much. It had been another long day. As Harry was starving and he had his first attention with Umbridge at 5 o'clock, he headed straight for dinner without dropping off his bag at the Gryffindor Tower so that he could bolt something down before facing whatever she had in store for him. When she had barely reached the entrance of the Great Hall, however, when a loud and angry voice said, "Oi, Potter!" "What now?" he muttered wearily, turning to face Angelina Johnson, who looked as though she were in a towering temper. "I tell you what now," she said, marching straight up to him and poking him hard in the chest with her finger. "How come you've landed yourself in detention for 5 o'clock on Friday?" "What?" said Harry. "Oh, why? Oh, yeah, keeper tryouts." "Now he remembers," snarled Angelina. "Didn't I tell you I wanted to do the tryout with the whole team and find someone who fitted in with everyone? Didn't I tell you I'd booked the Quidditch pitch specially? And now you've decided you're not going to be there." "I didn't decide not to be there," said Harry, stuck by the injustice of these words. "I've got detention from the Umbridge woman, just because I told her the truth about you-know-who." "Well, you can just go straight to her and ask her to let you off on Friday," said Angelina furiously. "I don't care how you do it. Tell her you-know-who's a figment of your imagination if you like. Just make sure you're there." She turned on her heel and stormed away. "You know what?" Harry said to Ron and Hermione as they entered the Great Hall. "I think we better check with Puddlemore United whether Oliver Wood's been killed during a training session, because she seems to be channeling his spirit." "Well, what do you reckon are the odds of Umbridge letting you off on Friday?" said Ron skeptically as he sat down at the Gryffindor table. "Less than 0, said Harry glumly, tipping lamb chops onto his plate and starting to eat. "But I tried, though, hadn't I? I'll offer to do 2 more detentions or something. I do know." He swallowed a mouthful of potato and added, "I hope she doesn't keep me too long this evening. You realize we've got to write 3 essays, practice vanishing spells for McGonagall, work out a counter charm for Flitwick, finish the bow truckle drawing, and start that stupid dream diary for Trelawney." Ron moaned and for some reason glanced up at the ceiling. And it looks like it's gonna rain." "What's that got to do with our homework?" said Hermione, her eyebrows raised. "Nothing," said Ron at once, his ears reddening. At 5:05, Harry bade the other 2 goodbye and set off for Umbridge's office on the 3rd floor. When he knocked on the door, she said, "Come in a sugary voice." He entered cautiously. Looking around, he had noticed the office under 3 of its previous occupants. In the days where Gilderoy Lockhart had lived here, it had been plastered and beaming portraits of its owner. When Lupin had occupied, it was likely you would meet some fascinating dark creature in a cage. Or thank you everyone, that's all for today. Bye, see you tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to read page 265. Bookmark, close. Peace out.